From Christchurch love to St. James pride, Barbados strong, we unified.
From St. George Heart to St. Peter's Flame, friends of democracy call our name. From St. Lucy Wins to St. Philip Line, this island's soul forever shine.
No more waiting, no more pain. The people's power will lead again. Every heart, every street.
Friends of democracy keep the beat. We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight from childhood of unity.
The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. response style. People say F-O-D, Friends of Democracy. Okay, those 20 cruising our destiny. From the hills to the sea, we rise as one. Bound to know what the new day's begun. Voices of courage, hearts full of flame. We're building a future in the people's name. From Christchurch to St. James Shore, we open the doors to so much more. From St. George Plain to St. Peter's Line.
The call is clear, this is our time.
More waiting, no more pain. The people's power will lead again. Stand to let it strong and free. We're writing our own history.
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight, for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. We rise, friends of democracy. Hear the drum, hear the call. Justice and freedom belong to all. From St. Lucie winds to St. Philip South, hope is alive in every mouth. From St. John to St. Andrew Hills, we rise with pride and bending will. From St. Joseph's Heart to St. Thomas side, the dream is ours with people's pride.
Hope is light in Battle Creek. The time we've waited, fair is here. Every hand, every heart. This is where the change will start.
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight, for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. They rise, friends of democracy. Friends of democracy. For our people, for our land, for our land. Together we're stronger, together we're stronger. We take a stand, we take a stand.
From Bridgetown streets to St. Michael Pride.
Barbados rise, the people's side.
Now's our moment, now's our day.
Friends of democracy, the way.
Full soca, brass steel pan, rubber boys, swords and fire west above. Full soca, brass steel pan, rubber boys, swords.
Only right, we're forging our destiny. We fight, for justice, hope and unity. From every voice to every dream, this is the people's victory beat. We rise, friends of democracy. Friends of democracy. Oh, better those slides with unity. Style up a Caribbean soca fusion anthem with pop and Afro meets undertone. Simple, 116 BPM. Insurance, steel pan, brass, electric, guitar, cymbals, lane, percussion. Lift crowd of scuds, lift crowd of facts for Grid Scott. Violence right through the community. Oh, advance. Wally. We turn this right outside. Revolution after lead. People say F O D. I'm friends of democracy. Barbados 2026, we're forging our destiny. Hey. From the hills to the sea, we rise as one. Hands to the work, the new day's begun. Voices of courage, hearts full of flame. We're building a future in the people's name.
From Christchurch to St. James Shore, we open the doors to so much more. From St. George Plains to St. Peter's Line, the call is clear. This is our time.
No more waiting, no more pain.
The people's power will lead again.
Stand together, strong and free. We're writing our own history. We rise, we're forging a destiny. We fight for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. We rise, friends of democracy. Hear the drum, hear the call. Justice and freedom belong to all. From St. Lucie winds to St. Philip South, hope is alive in every mouth.
From St. John to St. Andrew Hills, we rise with pride, unbending wills. From St. Joseph's Heart to St. Thomas' Side, the dream is ours with people's pride.
Hope is rising, bright and clear. The time we waited that for is here. Every hand, every heart. This is where the change will start. We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. We rise, friends of democracy. For our people,
For our people,
for our land.
for our land.
Together we're stronger.
Together we're stronger.
We take a stand.
We take a stand. From Bridgewater Streets to St. Michael Pride,
Barbados rise, the people say.
now's our moment, now's our day. Friends of democracy, lead the
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight from John Street's hope and unity. From every voice to every dream, this is the people's victory theme. We rise, friends of democracy. FOD, friends of democracy. Barbados rise with unity. Style up Pete Caribbean soccer fusion anthem with pop and FOD 10 tones. Tempo 120 BPM. Instruments steel pans, brass, electric guitar. Live crowd, more deep forging and we rise. Giant fruit community collide. And guess what it is? Nick Jones, national pride, unity, empowered. From the hills to the sea, we rise as one. Hands to the word, the new day's begun. From Christchurch love to St. James pride, Barbados strong, we unified.
From St. George Heart to St. Peter's Flame, friends of democracy call our name. From St. Lucy Winds to St. Philip Line, this island's soul forever shine.
No more waiting, no more pain. The people's power will lead again. Every heart, every street.
Friends of democracy keep the beat. We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight from childhood of unity.
The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. We rise. Friends of democracy. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Friends of democracy. For our people, for our people, for our people, for our land, for our land, no, none. Now's our day, now's our moment. Barbados, lead the way.
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight for justice, hope, and unity.
Friends of democracy. Oh, oh, Friends of democracy. Oh, hey, whoa, hey, the Friends of democracy. Aye. 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 Friends of democracy. From the hill to the sea, we rise as one. Hands to the work, the new day's begun. From Christchurch love to St. James pride, Barbados strong, we unified.
From St. George Heart to St. Peter's Flame, friends of democracy call our name. From St. Lucy Winds to St. Philip Line, this island's soul forever shine.
No more waiting. hear the call. Justice and freedom belong to all. From St. Lucie winds to St. Philip South, hope is alive in every mouth. From St. John to St. Andrew Hills, we rise with pride and bending will. From St. Joseph's Heart to St. Thomas side, the dream is ours with people's pride.
Hope is light in Battle Creek. The time we've waited, there is here. Every hand, every heart. This is where the change will start.
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight, for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. They rise, friends of democracy. Friends of democracy. For our people, for our land, for our land. Together we're stronger, together we're stronger. We take a stand, we take a stand.
From Bridgetown streets to St. Michael Pride.
Barbados rise, the people's side.
Now's our moment, now's our day.
Friends of democracy, the way.
Full stop, brass steel pan, rubber press, swords and fire west upon. Full stop, brass steel pan, rubber press, swords.
Only right, we're forging our destiny. We fight, for justice, hope and unity. From every voice to every dream, this is the people's victory beat. We rise, friends of democracy. Friends of democracy. For better those slides with unity. Style up a Caribbean soca fusion anthem with pop and Afro meets undertone. Simple, 116 BPM. Insurance, steel pan, brass, electric, guitar, cymbals, lane, percussion. Lift proud of Scott, lift crowd of facts for Chris Scott. Violence right through the community. Oh, and verse. One in. We turn this record side. Revolution after read. People say F O D. I'm friends of democracy. Barbados 2026, we're forging our destiny. Hey. From the hills to the sea, we rise as one. Hands to the work, the new day's begun. Voices of courage, hearts full of flame. We're building a future the call. Justice and freedom belong to all. From St. Lucie winds to St. Philip South, hope is alive in every mouth.
From St. John to St. Andrew Hills, we rise with pride, unbending wheels. From St. Joseph's heart to St. Thomas' side, the dream is ours with people's pride.
Hope is rising, bright and clear. The time we waited that for is here. Every hand, every heart, this is where the change will start. We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight for truth and unity. The people's voice, the people's dream. It's time to lead, it's time to be seen. We rise, friends of democracy. For our people,
For our people,
and for our land.
for our land.
Together we're stronger.
Together we're stronger.
We take a stand.
We take a stand. From Bridgewater streets to St. Michael Pride.
For borders rise, the people say.
Now's our moment, now's our day. Friends of democracy, lead the
We rise, we're forging our destiny. We fight from John Street's hope and unity. From every voice to every dream, this is the people's victory theme. We rise, friends of democracy. F.O.D. Friends of democracy. Barbados rise with unity. Style up Caribbean soccer fusion anthem with pop and FOD 10 the tons. Tempo 120 BPM. Instruments steel pans, brass, electric guitar. Live crowd, motif forging and we rise. Giant fruit community collide. And guess what Nick Jones, national pride, unity, empowered.
Welcome, Barbados, to Friends of Democracy's third press conference. I am Danielle Fort, member of the General Committee of this new and vibrant political party. But before we start, we will have a prayer by friend Jamal Martindale.
Good morning, Barbados. Let us pray. Father God in heaven, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for this day, and we thank you for the birth and the establishment of this political party, Friends of Democracy. We ask that everything we do here today will bring honor and glory to your name. Grant each of us wisdom, clarity, and sound judgment as we work for a good and beautiful Barbados. Keep us in good moral standing, grounded on truth, integrity, and principles. May our action reflect righteousness, and may our decisions uplift this nation. We ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we acknowledge members of the press, members of this head table, members of the Friends of Democracy, Barbadians at home and abroad tuning in to our social media platforms. At this time, we ask our President, Karina Goodrich, to offer her opening remarks, as well as introduce to us the 11 candidates, 12 candidates that we have. Yes, sorry. President Karina Goodrich will announce to you the 12 candidates we're offering Barbados from the Friends of Democracy political party. She will also share with you the shadow cabinet and the spokespersons. Madam President.
Thank you, friend Daya Fort. She's a wonderful woman who's given such great contribution to this party. Lovely voice, and thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. God bless you all, and also thank you, friend Jamal, for that wonderful opening prayer. We always put God first in this party. And I want to say good morning to Friends of Democracy members. We thank you for your support. And good morning to the nation, to the press. We love you, our viewers online. Good morning to you, and thank you for watching us. Now this morning, we present the first 12 candidates who will represent not only just the Friends of Democracy, but Barbados as a whole. 12 women and men from diverse walks of life, each shaped by different experiences, but united by one powerful principle. They are grounded in good faith. They stand here not just for self, but for country. They are accountable humans, and they made sure that they took up this mantle to be ambassadors for this nation. Now, we know the truth of the moments we are living in. Barbadians continue to face some challenges. We are not a perfect nation. We are faced with the crushing debt and unrelenting cost of living, and there's still the present weight of poverty in this nation. Lives have been reshaped, yes, by uncertainty, and the road ahead will not always be smooth. But myself as the president and my cabinet, we are here to remind you that we stand with you. Now, I say to you today that with good governance, honest leadership, and a nation standing and supporting together, we will prevail over any challenge. Because the issues of Barbados can be fixed by Barbadians. And this is something that is key that we want this nation to understand, that we Barbadians have the answers to our problems. Now, as we pursue economic justice, we also acknowledge that national security and crime prevention must remain at the forefront of our agenda. A nation cannot prosper when its people feel unsafe. We will be hindered from flourishing where fear takes root. So I want you to listen to my voice carefully, because the Friends of Democracy is committed to community-centered strategies, to policies that will help and protect our citizens, to uphold the law and order of this country, and to restore peace to our communities and neighborhoods. The Friends of Democracy, I want you to be clear this morning about this. It is built on a simple but transformative mission: the economic enfranchisement of the majority of Barbadians. We refuse to accept today that poverty is supposed to be a life sentence. We refuse to accept that opportunity is the birthright of only a few people in this society. For too long, power and capital have circulated only within the same circles. Those with access to commercial banks, pension funds, shares, dividends, investments, and generations of inherited wealth. We want to ensure that these things are available for the mass and not just a few. So the Friends of Democracy is here to change that. We will create the financial institutions and funding platforms that disrupt the status quo. We will spread capital to those who have long been underfunded and underlooked. We will establish interest-free loan programs so that the average Barbadian can compete fairly and fully in commerce, in culture, the orange economy, agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, and construction. So I am going to introduce to you the soldiers of this country who will stand on this fight to see a better Barbados, a Barbados that is developed on a high global level. You may say that we sound like dreamers, but we're not dreaming. As I said, I will reiterate, our problems could be solved by us. And as we unite together, we will make it happen. So thank you for listening to my voice. I'm going to introduce now to you the 12 women and men who are of the cabinet. First, myself, as the president, and as you may know, Miss Karina Goodrich, and I will be standing to contest in the constituency of St. Philip West. So let's give a round of applause to me. And then I have friend Mr. B. Ricardo Harrison, who is the first vice president of the Friends of Democracy, and he will be contesting in the constituency of St. Michael North. So just raise your hand, let them see how good looking you are. Yes, we have the good looking faces here in Friends of Democracy. Friend Mr. Andwele Ricky Williams, who is the second vice president of the Friends of Democracy, and he will be contesting for the constituency of St. Michael Northwest. All right. So don't make him feel left out. He's good looking too. Then we have friend Mr. Matthew Tarn. And he's the wonderful third vice president of the Friends of Democracy. And he will be contesting for the constituency of St. James South. All right. So St. James South, you can look out the window, you can open your door, and you're going to see a good-looking face, Mr. Matthew Tarn. Thank you. So number 5, friend Mr. Raymond Wiggins. And he will be contesting for the constituency of St. Michael's Central. Oh, yes. So St. Michael's Central, I want you to welcome him with open hearts because I know that he will deliver. So thank you, friend Raymond Wiggins. Then we have one of our wonderful and newest members, friend Anya Lord. She's an attorney at law too, so watch out. She is going to be contesting in St. Philip North constituency. Oh yes, and she's the first woman that I just announced, so we are definitely grateful for her. Friend Mr. Omar Smith. He will be contesting in the constituency of St. Philip South. We are happy to have him, and some of you would have seen him before. He would have run in the elections previously as an independent candidate. So we are grateful to have him on board with the Friends of Democracy. Then we have friend Mr. Kerry Thomas, and he will be contesting in the St. James Central constituency. Oh, yes. So if we have 2 Kerrys contesting against each other, well, may our Kerry win at the end of the day. And we have a very fan favorite, friend Miss Stephanie Williams. And she will be contesting in the St. James North constituency. Yes, another wonderful woman that we have on board, and she's a loyalist. She said she's not moving from that constituency. She's standing with the people. We honor that. Friend Miss Katrina Ramsey, we welcome her on board, and she will be contesting in the constituency of St. Michael West Central. Yes. She's joined us on the fight. She's not able to be here today, but we send our love. We love you, friend, and thank you for joining us in this great mission. Friend, beautiful young lady, Miss Dominique York. Give her a round of applause. She made it clear that she is a woman of God, and she is contesting in Christchurch East Central. Yes, beautiful Dominique. You see, we have nice-looking women like myself and the Friends of Democracy. So even if we get a vote off of good looks, that's okay. We welcome it. Thank you. Then we have friend Mr. Orlando Davis. Now, friend Davis, he will be going to the constituency of St. Lucie. We are grateful for him. I know he will give great value to that constituency, because most Barbadians would agree with me that St. Lucie has a number of issues that needs to be fixed urgently. And he's a handyman, and he will get in there and ensure that he satisfies the needs of the people of St. Lucie. Yes. So that was the 12 candidates who will represent the Friends of Democracy in the next general election. Those are the first 12. And we have more coming, because Barbados is pleased with the job that we are doing. And today, I would allow you to know what these spokespersons will be speaking on. So this morning, you will have myself as the president. I will be speaking on the reduction of the value-added tax on food items, reducing the cost of living. I will also speak on, I'll give you the chance to clap. I will also speak on the reduction of taxes on pensions, the introduction of the parish food centers, the 11 parish food centers that will help this country. Miss Friend Anya Lord, she will speak on the child maintenance policy and criminal justice. Friend B. Ricardo Harrison, he will speak on the housing policy, rent to own, reverse mortgages, and the land tax relief. Friend Dominique York, she will speak on the equitable repayment by government. Miss Friend Stephanie Williams, she will speak on the education and youth policy. Friend Matthew Thorne, he's here with us. He will not speak on the tourism policy, but in the future, you will hear him speaking on it at a later time. But he's not speaking on it today. Friend Kerry Thomas, he will speak on the public service vehicles and also the policy on the startup seed funding for small businesses. Friend Orlando Davis, he will speak on the policy of sea taxis, transportation, and the policy on flyovers. Friend Omar, under his portfolio, he will speak on agriculture. So friends, I thank you. I will now hand over to my friend Danielle Ford. Thank you very much.
Wow. There's so much to look forward to. And there's one common thread, that not only are we good-looking people, but we are people that are ready to put our hands to the plow and work and be representatives for your constituencies. And one thing I love to take under my belt is that taking time is not laziness. We are going to take our time and work for you. So I know you would love to hear from each candidate, but Madam President did mention who will be speaking today. So first off is friend Anya Lord, candidate for St. Philip North, who will share with you on child maintenance and criminal justice.
Friends, good afternoon. Now, I think that most, if not all of you in this room will agree with me when I say that the state of crime in Barbados is of significant concern to Barbadians. When we look at the period of January to May for 2025, and this is only with respect to gun-related offenses, we saw a 45% increase for that same period in 2024. That is a cause of concern. And who are the primary casualties? Whether it is jail, whether it is in the grave, whether it is the perpetrators of these offenses, the primary casualties are our young men. When we listen to the media, the average age range is what? 16 to 30? And those of you who know my area of practice know that I am not going to forget to mention violence against women and girls and violence against children. Many of these issues do not occupy the news, but they are issues nonetheless that impact our criminal justice system. We also have to take into consideration, whether we like it or not, that crime in Barbados has significant sociological dimensions. Our youth are disenfranchised. We need greater community intervention. We need enhanced and greater economic activity. And of course, we know that the cost of living is killing Barbadians. Of course, we know that. So the question is, how do we achieve greater efficiency within our criminal justice system? I want you to also bear in mind, when we talk about efficiency in the criminal justice system, most of the time our attention is occupied by the violent crimes, but we still have a slew of other matters that impact the system. We have burglary, we have theft, we have robbery, all of the predial larceny. All of these are matters that our criminal justice system has to manage. So I want you to think about the approach to dealing with these matters as the implementation of a spectrum of consequences. On the extreme end, we are looking at the enhancement of our retributive justice measures. And what does that mean? For very violent and heinous crimes, we're looking at increased and harsher jail sentences. I know Bajans are, I don't know if I can say y'all surprised anymore, but we know that we're tired seeing people running around outside on bail for 2 and 3 murder offenses or 2 and 3 gun-related offenses. I know that. Coming back out to confuse and terrorize our communities. I know that. I know that it has been a point of discussion among many Barbadians for the, I would say, reintroduction of the death penalty. Many Barbadians are advocating for things like corporal punishment. And this is on the extreme end, I am saying, for the enhancement of retributive justice. And I want to say that those are not things that we are ignoring. Those are things that we propose to discuss. And we acknowledge that these are not things that can be imposed willy-nilly either. We have to engage with the public. We have to engage with experts in the field. We have to engage with other stakeholders, the church, attorneys at law practicing in the criminal law profession. But the fact is that the discussions cannot be ignored. Of course, we also have to take into consideration our international obligations. We signed treaties. We have decisions coming out of the Caribbean Court of Justice that tell us what our obligations are once we sign on to these treaties. So these are discussions that we intend to have. But the fact remains that we can't ignore this any longer. But let me say this to you. There is no amount of punishment, no implementation of any death penalty or any kind of corporal punishment that is going to fix a crisis of culture. What we propose as retributive justice may deal with deterring what is happening currently, but it can't teach a man emotional intelligence. It can't teach a man how to reason. It can't fix, address, or help with the management of mental health issues. So what are we further proposing? We're looking at prevention. We're looking at dealing with the socio-economic problems that affect young people in Barbados. We have to strengthen our social services structure. Right now it is there, it exists. It may or may not be lovely on paper, but we know it is strained. There are no resources to deal with the problems that it is facing. There's not enough staff to deal with the number of cases that are coming into the system. So these are the things we have to address. We need to stop paying lip service to vocational training and actively empower our young people so that they can survive and make a living for themselves outside of simply engaging in academic activity. I am a lawyer. It took me a long, long time to get here, and I almost didn't get here. I know people doing hair nails that making more nails than me, that making more money than me. So why are we continuing to force and pigeonhole young people into these traditional forms of empowerment? So with that said, we have to have greater community engagement, right? We need to ensure that our social services are properly funded, staffed, and trained to deal with the issues that we see arising. What about restorative justice? What about rehabilitation? What about decreasing Lord help me with the word, recidivism? Yes. What about decreasing those instances? Why are we not strengthening the programs within our prisons? Why are we not targeting at-risk youth through greater partnerships with non-governmental organizations? I'm not saying that these things don't exist, but it is obvious that in a lot of ways, we are very good in Barbados at setting up committees, paying lip service, talking pretty to the people, and when we close our doors and the talk done, that is it. We done too. There's no follow-up, and our youth are falling through the cracks in the meantime. So we propose to actively take steps to engage the relevant stakeholders so that there's greater community presence. And I don't want to sit here and pretend as though the current government is doing nothing, right? If you look at the probation department, you see they have the men's 2 program. I think that's what it's called, the Girls Empowerment Circle program. They have initiatives, but how far is their reach? How far is their reach? And why do we have to wait until young people fall onto the wrong side of the law to start intervention? We should be there before. We know where the hot spots are. We know where we see the most criminal activity. That is where our attention and focus need to be. Now I'll move on, because I could talk about this for the rest of the day. But I'll move on to discussing our child maintenance policy, where we are proposing the implementation of an out-of-court maintenance system agreement. Now, you know that one of the things that we are dealing with on the island is the volume of cases that occupy the court system on an annual basis. A lot of you may not know, you're not in the courts, but very often, two persons go to court, not necessarily because they want to be adversarial, but they have a child and they want to have the security of an order of the court and of a place or a facility that they can pay the money into, so there is a record of how the money is being paid and when it is being received. We are saying that these kinds of matters don't need to occupy the attention of magistrates or judges. It is not to say that where matters require it, the court would not intervene. But we want to reduce the load on the court system. So persons can go onto a government portal. There is a voluntary process. The person required to pay maintenance signs an agreement. And once that agreement is signed and they are satisfied, the money is paid into the system and the person who is to receive that maintenance will receive it. In addition to that, and I note before others come for me that this is not a new initiative, but in addition to that, we are looking at implementing a maintenance facilitation fund. Because the fact is that with the high cost of living and increasing poverty in Barbados, we have a lot of individuals who are constantly falling into arrears of maintenance. And we have a lot of women, by extension, who aren't receiving maintenance. So we propose to establish this fund. Each child will receive, a minimum of $75 per week, as long as you can demonstrate that you have 2 months of non-payment. You must have an order of the court or a signed agreement, as I referred to earlier. And once we are satisfied, you can receive up to 4 months of assistance, with the possibility of an extension if your case is reviewed and we think that it is necessary, that it should continue. What does this do? It assists women in maintaining their children, and we don't intend to be adversarial with the persons who fall into arrears. We enter into agreements with them. How are you going to repay? How can we assist you in the meantime until you get your house in order? Where money is taken from the fund or paid out from the fund, the recovery will be managed by a child maintenance recovery unit. And if for whatever reason we have to end up going to litigation, then you know that we have those arms of government that enter into litigation on behalf of the state. But the point is that we are looking at ways of assisting and empowering Barbadians. Everything can't be about punishment. Everything can't be adversarial. And I ask you to continue to pay attention, walk with us, work with us as we do what is necessary to help you.
Wow. Well said, friend Anya. Almost made me feel that I should be in St. Philip North to vote for her. She has much passion, and we appreciate you for being part of this party. Next up, we have First Vice President Ricardo Harrison, again candidate for St. Michael North. He will speak to you on housing policy, rent-to-own homes, reverse mortgages, and land tax relief.
Good afternoon, Barbados. Good afternoon to the friends of democracy. Coming after friend Anya, I don't know if you can fill those boots. Nevertheless, the Friends of Democracy is committed to breaking the cycle of generational renting and proposes to expand home ownership for working class and middle income Barbadians. Our aggressive, genuine rent-to-own policy will make it possible for thousands of citizens to secure their own homes, many for the first time in their lives. These solutions, my friends, when integrated into a national housing strategy, can transform access for low-income Barbadians and foster inclusive growth. Friends, under this policy, 100% mortgages will be granted to public officers and private sector employees earning between $2,500 and $5,000 per month, making home ownership attainable for a segment of the population often priced out of the traditional markets. Mortgages will be provided at reasonable market-driven interest rates with no deposit required, thus removing one of the largest barriers to entry for first-time buyers. And you know, when you apply for a mortgage in Barbados, you have to bring your grandmother's breastplate, and the amount of paper you have to sign will flatten Joe's River Forest. We also propose, friends, a dedicated housing authority, our newly mandated agency, which will be established to supervise and superintend and manage the program, ensuring transparency, efficiency, and accountability. And we are all familiar with the Hope Project fiasco. Friends, the homes provided under this initiative will include very low-cost, quality housing units built to last and designed for practical, comfortable living. We will provide or propose a mix of single standalone homes and terrace units located in strategically selected communities to support access to jobs, transport, schools, and other essential services. These homes will come with an essential structural outlay. That is, you will provide the roof, the walls, and windows and doors, but the homeowner will have the liberty to provide the inward structures like the tiles, the cupboards, and bathroom fittings, and so forth and so forth. Thus enabling them to have a structure and to design it as they see fit. Friends, this initiative promotes dignity through home ownership. It empowers families and gives young professionals and working class citizens a genuine stake in the national economy. We will also integrate, and not only talk about it, but we'll integrate green energy standards into new housing developments to reduce to reduce long-term utility costs and promote environmental sustainability. That is, we will try to encourage persons to have their houses fitted with solar panels to reduce their electricity costs. And we will endeavor to have this exercise reachable, because currently, as it stands, it is fairly expensive to outfit a home with solar energy. I now turn to reverse mortgages. A reverse mortgage is a financial arrangement where homeowners aged between the ages of 60 and over can access part of the equity in their homes before having to sell or vacate the property. Instead, instead of making monthly payments to the banks, the credit unions, and whoever else, those institutions will be paying you back some sort of finance. The homeowner receives payment from the lenders, and repayment is only required when the house is sold or the homeowner transitions or passes from this life into the next. The Friends of Democracy recognizes that many of our senior citizens own their homes outright, but struggle with their daily living expenses, medical costs, or other retirement needs. And to address this, we will introduce the concept of these reverse mortgages. I'll say that sometimes when persons retire at 65 or 67, they still have a very active mortgage, and they have to pay that mortgage from their pension or maybe remittances from their children overseas. So we plan to effect this policy to let those homeowners over 60 enjoy their sunset years, have a little cash in hand to enjoy their life, go to various restaurants and enjoy a proper meal. This policy, my friends, is about preserving dignity in retirement, giving our seniors the freedom to access the wealth they built over time, and easing the financial burden on the younger family members who may otherwise carry full responsibility for elder care. The key aspects of this policy: strict regulatory oversight to ensure transparency, again, fairness, and protection against predatory lending. Also, collaboration with financial institutions and credit unions to create safe, regulated, reverse mortgage products that meet international best practices. We will engage in a public educational campaign to help seniors and their families understand the benefits and indeed the risks of reverse mortgages. The Friends of Democracy is also committed to creating a tax regime that works for the many and not for the few. Thus, the land tax policy represents a bold step towards a more just and economically secure Barbados, where no family has to fear eviction or financial ruin simply because they dare to own their own homes. We aim to protect vulnerable homeowners from losing property due to tax burdens. We also aim to stimulate the housing market by making ownership more attractive and indeed more affordable. Also, the Friends of Democracy will encourage land development and reduce vacancy or underuse of residential land. And I'll say this, that the legislation is there that the government can acquire unused or vacant lots for their own purposes. We also intend to uphold tax justice by ensuring that commercial entities and wealthier landowners carry a fair share of the national tax responsibility. Thus, this is what we propose, friends, that properties valued up to $400,000 will be exempt from land tax. Those properties valued at over $401,000 will pay only on the first $100,000 of that value. However, land tax will remain on all commercial properties. Friends, there are a lot more that will come, but I just want to sweeten your appetites as the Christmas season approaches. I thank you.
Thank you very much, friend Ricardo. I'm certainly interested in those position policies. It will certainly help us breathe a little. Next, we have friend Dominique York, contesting Christchurch East Central. She will speak to us on equitable repayment by government.
Good evening, friends. Good evening, Barbados. I am presenting the policy on equitable repayment practices. This policy implies that if there is any monies owed by government agencies to public servants, that it shall carry an interest rate on late repayments. Friends of Democracy believes that accountability must go both ways. For too long, Barbadians For too long, Barbadians, whether ordinary citizens, pensioners, small business owners, contractors, have all endured unreasonable delays in receiving payments owned by the government of Barbados. Meanwhile, when citizens owe the government, penalties, interest, and enforcement actions are swiftly applied. This double standard must stop. It certainly isn't fair to those persons who are waiting refunds owed by the NAS department, such as survivor benefits. When we have the breadwinner of the family just passed, and we have those children who are relying on those payments to survive, they waited 6 months to receive a payment from NAS is not fair, especially when that breadwinner was a person who was working for over 30 years and faithfully making their payments to NAS department. Friends of Democracy advocates for interest to be imposed on the government when it owes people. Under a Friends of Democracy administration, legislation will be introduced to ensure that interest is applied to any sum owed by the government of Barbados to individuals, companies, or institutions. Once that payment is delayed beyond an agreed contractual or statutory time frame, the interest must be applied. This policy would apply to, but is not limited to, delayed pension payments or contributions to retirees or public servants, late payments to vendors, contractors, service providers who have contracts with government agencies, late payments to public service employees. There are many public service employees, whether appointed or on contracts, who have not received a salary in multiple months, and it is not fair to them. When we say that the public service is giving us poor service, and on the back end, they are not being paid for their service, we cannot be angry with them. And again, I will mention the rebates or refunds owed by government agencies, such as the NAS department and TAMIS, relative to the tax returns. When we obtain jobs, this very same week, we have to wait 2 weeks to receive our salary, but this very same week that we start working, the NAS payment is deducted. I was working for, I can't mention the name of the company, right? But I was working, and one of the employees who was a young employee, she has not have her NAS number as yet. And NAS deductions were still being taken from her salary. So the same way that they can move swiftly to remove our money when they want to take it, they should move swiftly to pay out the money when we need it given. And I can go on about this, and it's going to cause a lot of tension between Barbados and the government, because I'm sure that some persons didn't even know that there's a survivor's benefit. I'm sure that I don't even want to touch on sickness benefits, because persons will be sick for like 2 months. They go back out to work and still have not received their repayments. These things are not fair. And before I can go on about this, I'm just going to touch on it and let you all reminisce on what I know said, and let it dwell and see that this equitable repayment practice must be implemented. Thank you.
Well done, Dominique. Wow. Let's get it right. We are Friends of Democracy. We experience what you experience. So trust us to get it right, and done right properly and swiftly. Next, we have friend Stephanie Williams, candidate for St. James North, a hard worker, and she will share our policy position on education and youth.
Hello to my friends in person and friends watching online. Now, anyone who knows me knows I'm very passionate about education and the youth. Barbados stands at a critical junction in its commitment to equity and inclusion. While the nation has made strides in education, healthcare, and social development, persons with disabilities, both visible and hidden, continue to face systematic barriers that limit their full participation in society. Systematic changes persist, particularly in supporting students with disabilities. The current framework lacks comprehensive legislation, adequate infrastructure, and consistent support services, resulting in exclusion from mainstream education, employment, and civic life. If left unaddressed, these gaps will not only perpetuate inequality, but also undermine the country's broader development goals and its obligation under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, to which Barbados is a signatory. The impact of an inadequate disability support system is far-reaching. Children with learning differences such as dyslexia, ADHD, or autism often go undiagnosed and unsupported in classrooms, leading to academic failure, social isolation, and long-term economic disadvantages. According to the situational analysis of Barbados, students with disabilities face barriers in accessing inclusive education, ranging from inadequate infrastructure to limited specialized staff and resources. The current reliance on academic testing and limited differentiation in instruction often marginalizes these students, affecting their long-term outcomes. The lack of trained personnel, diagnostic tools, and adaptive technologies continues to hinder progress. Adults with physical or sensory impairments face limited access to public transportation, employment opportunities, and healthcare services, reinforcing cycles of poverty and dependence. These challenges are compounded by stigma and a lack of public awareness, which further marginalize individuals and families affected by disability. This policy seeks to establish a robust, rights-based framework that ensures accessibility, early intervention, inclusive education, and economic empowerment of persons with disabilities. It calls for legislative reform, increased funding for diagnostic and support services, and the integration of universal design principles across public infrastructure. To break the cycle of crime, which is always on our minds, we must begin by transforming our education system to meet the diverse needs of our youth. Early diagnostic testing, we propose the implementation of rigorous and standardized screening at the primary school level for learning and developmental disorders such as autism spectrum disorder, ASD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and dyslexia. Early diagnosis will allow for timely interventions, ensuring that no child is left behind due to unaddressed learning challenges. Removal of the stigma and provision of the resources to assist families is required. Inclusive learning support. Once diagnosed, students must have access to tailored educational resources, specialized teachers, and inclusive classroom environments that empower them to strive and to become productive members of society. It is further proposed to have the needed educational structure in place to begin the vocational training alongside the essential learning of subjects like mathematics and English language, while precision to the field of choice. Career-ready technical education. FOD, Friends of Democracy, calls for the restructuring of the Alma Paris School into a technical career institute. A dedicated institution focused on developing vocational and technical skills in students who may not excel in traditional academic settings, but show strong aptitude in trades, craftsmanship, engineering, or technology at the secondary level for either preparatory certification or conscious progression into the world of work, where both positions are to institute a direct mentorship program that escalates into employment. This initiative will do what, you may ask? Equip students with marketable real-world skills, boost employability and entrepreneurship, offer an alternative and respected path to success. Embracing the Future National Strategy on Artificial Intelligence is not part of what I am supposed to be reading, but thank you for listening.
Thank you, friend Stephanie. I see we have candidates that keep it real, and that's what we're about. Remember, Barbados, children are our future, and we need to equip them, not only academically, but let's figure out what areas they love or what they're talented in. It could be sports, it could be technical, it could be craft. Let's encourage them so that they can be the best that they can be. Next up, we have friend Kerry Thomas, candidate for St. James Central. He will speak on public service vehicles, as well as startup seed funding for small businesses. Friend Kerry.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, Barbados. And I want to address, as our friend Diane would have stated, public service vehicles, our policy on it. And we must understand that that is an area that is very tedious to Barbados. It is our transport system, or our primary transport system. Yes, there's a transport board, but with public service, it is a arm where persons could gain and have opportunity to work. It's opportunity for a person to become an entrepreneur as well. And one of the things that we have to look at is about 80% of the drivers and conductors don't own the vehicle. It belongs to an owner, and the owner would ask for a hefty sum per day. So that would, in turn, lead to a lot of competition, because they have to make the quota that the owner is asking for, and everything else would then belong to them, and that could be maybe 10 cents of every dollar that they will make. So the Friends of Democracy political party proposes to add an award feature to the basic payments of all PSV workers, to enhance their wages, to acknowledge that they are the backbone of the public transportation sector in Barbados. The rationale for this policy is to reduce the over-enthusiastic spirit of competition. This is the not stopping at bus stops, going off-road, cutting half, we're down the road, turning back up. We want to curb all that, which encourages reckless and unlawful behavior. To bring all of the workers onto the government payroll with a negotiated and fixed weekly stipend to be added alongside the wages from their respective employers. Now, I know that any public service worker that hears that will be hitting this table and clapping, because that is a benefit that I would smile to hear. The FOD is of the view that the method of payment is at the heart of the indiscipline now existing in the sector. It will also engender a feeling of care for the workers, thus creating a culture of second-tier entrepreneurship among the sector's drivers and conductors. It's about time that they have some sort of fairness instead of being a hustle, given a hustle's mentality. I would also like to share on our policy on the startup seed funding for small businesses. The FOD will implement a startup or seeding funding to the tune of a $15,000 loan to applicants, in which there will be a built-in compulsory enrollment in the NIS Self-Employment Contribution Fund, whose accumulated funds acts as a guarantee for the loan, with the government having the first line on the matured benefits over time. The NIS monthly or weekly payments from the loan recipients will form part of the monthly repayment of the government to the government, for the loan. The rationale is to afford adequate and appropriate seed funding while simultaneously instituting a built-in mechanism to guarantee the loan while providing self-employment insurance coverage for the loan recipients. With these two policies, we can guarantee that Barbados can be a better and fairer government. Thank you.
Thank you, friend Henry. Next up, we have friend Sherlyn Orlando Davis, who will share the policy on sea taxis and transportation, as well as flyovers.
Good morning, Barbadians and friends. Today we'll cover our policies dealing with efficiency and bringing in ease to traffic congestion, which is a problem that we all face. Our flyover policy and our policy implementation of sea taxis. The flyover policy will be a strategic policy for safer and smarter roads. It is imperative that we provide a clear framework for the planning, construction, and maintenance of flyovers, with grade separated interchanges to ease traffic congestion. This will have the added benefit of reducing travel time, enhancing road safety, and supporting national economic development while minimizing environmental and social disruption. A flyover policy refers to a long-term strategy to build elevated roadways that allow traffic to move uninterrupted over intersections and congested areas, especially in urban and high-density traffic corridors. Barbados is a small island. The need flyover policy has risen from several local realities, increasing traffic congestion in key corridor areas such as the ABC Highway, Wildy, Warrings, and the Bell. They face daily congestion, particularly during the peak hours. These choke points tend to slow down productivity, increase fuel consumption, and emergency vehicle response times due to suffer. Due to the limited road space, expansion is difficult since we have limited land for road widening, especially in the already developed areas. A flyover will allow for increased capacity without using more horizontal land and solving bottlenecks vertically rather than laterally. Now we will move on to the sea taxis. The Friends of Democracy proposes to create adequate parking facilities in 4 major towns. This will facilitate the efficient operation of a public/private sector, thus creating more jobs for Barbadians and ease daily commutes of our citizens. This operation will ferry commuters to and from those cities. The rationale for this initiative is to provide sea transportation at peak hours to cover the movement of commuters from Oistins in the south to Spikestown in the north, with the incorporated service of Bridgetown and Holetown, thus significantly reducing the heavy traffic congestion on our roadways. In conclusion, these initiatives, our flyover policy, and the introduction of the sea taxis are designed to make our daily commutes smoother, safer, and more efficient, driving us towards a brighter and more sustainable future. I want to thank you all for giving us the attention and your support. I am honored to be a part of the Friends of Democracy, and thank you. Let's make this journey together, Barbados. Thank you.
Thank you, friend Sherland, candidate for St. Lucie. I like it, I like it, I like it. Because there are days you just don't feel like driving, so the sea taxi sounds awesome. Plus, you're getting good fresh air. Lastly, we have President Karina Goodrich, candidate for St. Philip West, who will continue to share on the reduction of VAT to help our pockets, to reduce the cost of living, reduction of taxes on pensions, Introduction of parish food centers. President.
Thank you. So, the first policy that I will speak on today is on the pension policy. And I want every person who's watching and everyone who's here with us to recognize how important this pension policy is, because the elderly are the vulnerable members of this society, and we have to honor them. Because when I canvass or walk around in different constituencies in this nation, I've found that many elderly people are placed in a very uncomfortable situation. And that situation is dependent on their income, their pension. Because we look at the pension as salaries deferred. They would have worked in this nation. They would have contributed already significantly to the consolidation fund. So here we have it, that sometimes all pensioners, retirees have is their salary to rely on. It is not everybody who is in this nation that is an elderly person that has someone to rely on. They have their pension. And one thing I know for sure is that pension does not increase. So it can only stretch so far. So I'm leading you to something. Why are we taxing pensions? Why? We have to give the pensioners the golden handshake that they deserve. We cannot forget them. We have to honor them for the work and every contribution that they have made before we even came into existence. Us younger people must honor the elderly who has contributed to this nation. So here is our proposal. So the Friends of Democracy political party accepts the fact that pensions are policies deferred. There are salaries deferred, sorry. With that in mind, the party is of the opinion that after contributing to the tax system of the country for some instances, 33 and a third years and more in some cases, the government or private sector employee has made his or her significant contribution to the consolidated fund, as I just said, and by extension to the upkeep, the maintenance, and the governance of this country. As a golden handshake to those categories of workers, the Friends of Democracy proposes to exempt 67% of all pensions received by these former workers from any taxes or impositions. Think about that. A pensioner who is still renting, a pensioner who perhaps has to pay a rent of perhaps $1,200 a month, a pensioner who lives in this country and could only stretch their pension as much as to afford very few items in the supermarket. That exemption of the 67% would definitely ease the burden off of those elderly people. There are still elderly persons in this country who knows that they still have debt. They still have debt. And some banks and some credit unions are taking out from their pension. So it's being taxed. And then money is being taken from whatever little you have. You see why you have to walk around and encounter people and hear them, hear their side of the story. Policies are made to solve issues. They guide the operation of this country, of this nation, Barbados. When you have heard about a policy, you are supposed to smile. You are supposed to see the benefit of it. You are supposed to be people that are guided by a government that will care about what your situation is. So, when the pensioners are crying out, it is us, the representatives, the people who have the wisdom that should be using it effectively to bring about change in Barbados. So we strongly believe that this policy would help the elderly more than words could even explain. Now, you've heard us before, and we've been having a lot of conversation concerning the VAT and the abolition of the 17.5% VAT, right? And we were talking about abolishing the VAT on food items only. And Barbados, I'm here to remind you that the Friends of Democracy is in a VAT war. We're in a VAT war. Because when anyone on the other side is telling us that this policy cannot work, well, we're in a VAT war. Because we are fighting for you to have an ease on the cost of living. We are strongly advocating for you so that this policy will be implemented. And if we enter government and enter parliament, we by no form or fashion will be backing down from advocating for this policy. So, the Friends of Democracy proposes to abolish the 17.5% value-added tax on all food items collected at all the ports of entry and at the retail end, on all food items, on all, not some, on all. There will then be an introduction of a 16% reduction of goods levy on all food items and on some goods imported except those now exempted from the imposition of taxes for whatever reason. So let's take a pause there. You're being taxed at the port. You're being taxed at the retail end. What does that amount to? 17.5 plus 17.5 is 35%. So when you go to the supermarket, we want you to feel at ease. We need an ease in this country from this burden, from high prices. So you see why this policy is so essential? Because when you go to the market and you look at your bill and you recognize that you pay for at least 12 items and your bill is actually, say, $300 and something already, and this is only 12 items, we are advocating that 17.5% be abolished. Let's introduce 16% a tax at the ports so that the government will collect what is due to them. You don't have to wait on the third-party entities then to collect what is due to you. With regard to the food, you collect what is due to you there at the port. Okay. So, that is our policy to significantly reduce the cost of living and to improve the living standards and conditions of Barbadians, especially the poor, especially the dispossessed, and those entangled in the mesh of the intergenerational poverty, because poverty still exists in this land. We see it. We know it. A matter of fact, even if you're in the category of the middle class, you still feel the burden. You still want to ease. If it is one thing that I've learned during the course of my lifetime, is that even the rich don't like to spend a lot of money. So why should we, as people in the middle class or even in the low class, then have to be subject to constantly having to pay high prices? Now, we are further convicted in our belief that this policy is workable because the government did in August of 2019 wrote off $1 billion in VAT that was collected by retailers and businesses that delivered services, funds that should have been paid into the consolidated funds, okay? They were written off by the government. Therefore, this clearly indicates for us that there's fiscal room and space to felicitate this Friends of Democracy policy. Many times we get opposition when we look for policies that would actually help the poor people in the nation. And this is why we need your support. We need you to come on board to advocate for this policy. Believe me, each and every one of you to join on this fight. Because we have heard in this nation, over time, promises about the abolition of the 17.5% VAT. We've heard about the reduction of it. But none has delivered. And we are here reminding them that if they won't deliver, we will stand and ensure knockouts will come and we will come and deliver. So layered on top of that, the Friends of Democracy political party proposes to have and establish 11 parish food centers in this country, Barbados. So I like to call it the PFC because Bajans love KFC. So we got the PFC. We have the parish food centers coming to this nation. Let me explain what it entails. So we will have one parish food center in each parish to supply all food items and some goods. For example, we will have toiletries, baby supplies, ladies and gents, personal cares, all VAT zero rated and freed from all government duties. This is a mechanism to augment the reduced food price offer intended by the major VAT policy of the Friends of Democracy. Now, the government's focus seemed to be, to be fixed primarily on just sourcing goods from cheaper suppliers, right? But this is a policy that is an elusive and delayed solution to what is an immediate problem of the high cost of living that is facing many Barbadians today, unfortunately, in our everyday life. So the Friends of Democracy brings that as a solution, yes, to the cost of living And we want to ensure that the government will still be in this government will still be able to maintain their revenue position by ensuring that all the monies collected at the ports of entry through, or though, should I say, at a reduced percentage, find its way into the consolidated fund and not otherwise diverted down the food and goods chain. So I want you to be excited about that policy, because we all know that a hungry man is an angry man. Don't ever mess with a man's food. Many issues in this country are interrelated. And when you feel as though you can't survive or it is hard to survive, then you will recognize then you have crime issues, you have tourism issues, you have many issues that stem then from having a high cost of living. So when you see us here advocating that we want that 17.5% VAT abolished, join on this fight, Barbados. Join on this fight with us, because we are fighting for your rights. And we are ensuring that each man and woman here has a voice to advocate for you. We are the friends of democracy. Your voice should not be silenced. We need those parish food centers. We need to acknowledge that not everybody can afford these high-cost items. We need to acknowledge that this will be beneficial not just to one, but everyone in this nation. So I thank you for listening to every person who has spoke today, to the members of this shadow cabinet. And I want to reassure you that we have sat and we have properly thought out every single policy that we have brought to you today. And we are always open to consultation with the nation. We are welcoming ideas from you. You can always message us on our Instagram, Friends of Democracy 246. You can message us through FOD BIM, through our General Secretary, and listen to us. Speak to us. We welcome you and we thank you. Each and every one of you is an important vessel to ensuring that the goals of this country are met. So Barbados, I will announce the different portfolios of the shadow cabinet to let you know which areas the spokespersons will be speaking on. So myself, as the president of the Friends of Democracy, I will be addressing issues on national security, healthcare, criminal justice, social services, and economic affairs. Friend, Mr. Ricardo Harrison, he will be addressing issues on housing and home affairs, legal affairs, and criminal justice. Friend, Mr. Andwele Ricky Williams, he will be covering issues on culture, youth, and sports. Friend, Matthew Thorne, he will hold the portfolio of tourism, foreign affairs, and international business. Friend, Mr. Raymond Wiggins, he will be covering the portfolio for education, training, tertiary, and transformation. Friend, Miss Angulard, she will be addressing issues on family and child welfare and gender affairs. So that is her portfolio. Friend, Omar Smith, His portfolio will be on agriculture and food security. Friend, Mr. Kerry Thomas. His portfolio includes cultural industries and orange economy and community development. Friend, Miss Stephanie Williams. She's the spokesperson for the Ministry of Transport and Works. Friend, Miss Katrina Ramsey. She's the spokesperson for cybersecurity and technological innovation. Friend, Miss Dominique York. She will be covering people empowerment and elder affairs, disability, and mental health services. Friends, Mr. Orlando Davis. He will be in charge to speak on labor, small business, environment, and national development. And friend, Mr. Jamal Martindale. He's a spokesperson that can speak on issues that will arise to help the Friends of Democracy, and his portfolio will be in the President's or Leader's office. So welcome then once again. So we thank you, and I hand over now to friend Danielle Fort.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, can you give her a round of applause? Thank you. And everybody, just be reminded, we have to do this together and with the help of Almighty God. So as President said, ask questions. Check us out on our social media platforms. When you see your candidates in your area, please engage them, because we need each other. At this time, we ask the press if they have any questions.
Go again? Okay, good afternoon. Rico Moore for the Nation newspaper. First, I'd just like to congratulate the Shadow Cabinet of the Friends of the Democracy and your all title positions. The question is, the people in the public will recognize that this is another party in Barbados. But for the ones out there that do not know about you, what are some of the measures you already done before the Shadow Cabinet come aboard?
All right, thank you, Rico. What a wonderful question. First of all, we have been working diligently and very hard. Not only have we been meeting and deliberating on many issues, but we've been actually going into different communities, meeting with people, hearing what the issues are, and then delivering for them in the different constituencies. One of the things that I know that the public would be aware of is the water drive that we would have had in St. Lucie as of recent. We would have gotten sponsorship, and also we would have purchased some of the waters so that we could at least try to help some of the residents in those areas. Myself, I would have been given a donation, also food donation, when I went to St. Philip West. So persons there would have been so grateful to, receive things like the plantings and so on. We are not saying that to get a round of applause, because I always know the saying that the left hand shouldn't know what the right hand do, but I have to answer your question. But we've been in the communities, reaching out to people Some people have said that they've had some housing issues and they've requested us to send in letters for them. Some of them have to get back to us with information. So in terms of housing, for sure, that is something that we plan to address, because many people are saying that, you know, their names were on a list for a very long time and they still are not homeowners. So that's one of the issues. And back again to St. Lucie, we plan to go back there as many times as we have to until the issue is resolved. On my right is friend Matthew Thorne, and one of the things he did was take us into a community where we did a cleanup. And you don't see that too often, where persons who want to be in government go there and just use their own hands and do what they have to do cleanups. So that was actually one of the first things that we did as a party. We did a cleanup. We got out there in the constituency. Which constituency it was against? It was in St. Michael. Yes, near My Lord's Hill. We were down there. We were cleaning. The team went down there, St. Michael West, yeah, St. Michael East, sorry. We went down there and we did a cleanup, and that was actually led by friend Matthew Thorne. And we made sure that the resident was pleased with the work that we did. So those are things that we have been doing for the people of this nation before even this shadow cabinet was formed.
Now that the shadow cabinet is formed, how difficult it was for you to select these to come on your Friends of Democracy?
Well, I can tell you and reassure you and the Barbadian public that it was a hard task initially, because many Barbadians were looking at us as a third party. And sorry to say, but many people in this nation don't believe that third parties do very successfully on the election day. So we had to build the confidence of the people to actually have them coming on board to join our membership, because it is hard work. Many persons have been disappointed by the Barbados Labour Party and by the Democratic Labour Party. So here we are, a new party coming to tell people pretty much that we want to help to develop the nation. So after we put in the work using social media and the news, thank you to the news, Nation News, thank you to Barbados Today to help the way that they helped us to get the message across the nation. We are grateful, because honestly, without them, it would have been a harder task. So we got the message out there, and then it reached the hearts of each individual who is sitting here with us. So they were attracted to what we carry. When they actually got into the actual party, they would have recognized that we are doing things structured. We are doing things different. We have committees, an executive committee, and we have a general committee, and we had scores of members. So they would have recognized, but wait, this party is actually developing and functioning just as if they were a mass party. So then when persons recognize, well, they have their stuff together, they have leadership, they have the committees in place, and also they have people that look like they're serious, and they are serious when you get to know them, and you recognize that we have qualified individuals from different diverse backgrounds, different educational skills and abilities that we bring to the forefront. They've also heard our public speaking meetings, so we're not like some of the parties out there that will just be silent many times and far before election and then just emerge. We are people who are constantly working, and we are persistent in the manner that we are approaching the elections. So if you see that, you will recognize the value that we carry, and you will want to come on board. And if you care about Barbados and you want to see the nation excel, then you will want to join with us.
My last question is for the famous Stephanie herself. Yes, yes. Now that you have come on board with Friends of Democracy, we know you're a vocalist of speaking what is happening in Barbados, and you attack things that needs to be straightened out. Now you come on board on this Friends of Democracy. I know you have a ministry already in position, but what are some of the major things you really want to attack to the Barbadian public that you know come on board as Friends of Democracy?
Okay, so what you are actually asking is what I am most concerned about, in short.
Correct.
Okay,
Are
so for
you-
me, right, the grooming policy, it needs some work. That is something that keeps me up at night. And it needs some work. Also, persons with disabilities. I have persons in my constituency with disabilities, and they're going through some challenges. And that is another area that needs to be urgently addressed. Now, when we speak on crime takes up a lot of time, right? And like the president would have said, poverty is a contributing factor to crime. It is out of hand. It needs a radical pullback. This is not a time where we can sit and just have nice discussions. That time has passed. We need to see radical things put in place to deal with crime so that normal Barbadian citizens, whether they are adults or children, can feel safe. And it don't just mean safe in their communities, but I mean traveling on public transportation. Because it will seem like persons, they do not care. You could be anywhere, but the shop, by the bank, in the supermarket, in the bus, it does not matter. So some radical things need to be put in place in terms of how deeply poverty is affecting persons in Barbados. And Rico, I will end with this. You did not ask me, but I'm going to say. One of the reasons why I am here today is because I know firsthand what poverty is. And it is not nice. And I want to say, in finishing, to all of those Barbadian citizens out there who are feeling like that is the end of the road. You cannot do any better. Look at this face. I am a representation of all of you.
Thank you. Before I forget, I also want to thank Starcom Network. Thank you for carrying our voices across the nation. We are definitely grateful for that assistance.
Well, we have a lot to think about, a lot to consider. But Friends of Democracy is ready and willing to do what they have to do to be the next government. So we just thank the head table. I'll go through all the members. We have friend Omar Smith, second Vice President Andrele Williams, friend Jamal Martindale, friend Dominique York, first Vice President Ricardo Harrison, friend Anya Lord, President Karina Goodrich, friend Stephanie Williams, friend Kerry Thomas, friend Sherlyn Orlando Davis, friend Raymond Wiggins, and chaplain and third Vice President Matthew Thorne. We thank you. You have made a valuable input to this party, and we know that you are committed to being representatives in the nearing future. Thank you too to the Friends Friends of Democracy, for your continuous support. And we thank you, the public, for your listening ear and for making us your party of choice. Happy Independence to you and have a great day. It's Stephanie's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday